What should you spend your money on? Is it bad to buy nice cars and nice clothes? Today, I'm going to show you a very misunderstood concept amongst Muslims. And I'm also going to share with you a disease that I had in my heart that I feel that Allah cured based on a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ at the end of this video. In case you're wondering who I am, my name is Imran ibn Mansur. I'm a student of Islamic studies and I give da'wah. And I'm also a 7-figure entrepreneur 3 times over. We scored the hat trick when it came to 7 figures with Allah Azza wa Jalla's permission and His aid. And currently, I'm teaching course creators and coaches how to scale their courses and coaching programs to 7 figures online. If you stay towards the end, I'm going to share with you a bit about how you can do that. Without any further ado, let's get into the meat and the sauce of what today is about. What to spend your money on.
Alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to another episode of Righteous and Rich. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about what to do with wealth once you've attained it. Is it okay to spend it on some of the finer things in life? Is it okay to come to, UAE and rent a car from Premier Supercars Dubai to stay in a nice hotel? Or should someone just be content and just be doing the bare minimum?
Nissan Sunny.
Anything extra that they get, a Nissan Sunny, for example, anything extra that they get, give it away in charity, for example. One of the things we'll be discussing. Let's take it away.
Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah ma ba'd. So I've had a disease in my heart,
which is
for a very long time. I don't know if I'm going to feel comfortable actually sharing it. But what I will say to you is that I came across a hadith that I feel like with Allah Azza wa Jalla's permission was Allah cured this sickness in my heart because of this hadith.
What was the hadith?
I'm going to share it with you at the end.
Okay.
Retention.
But
it's around this topic about what to spend your money on, right? So this is something that I've struggled with for a long time, Bakr, right? Because I do like the finer things in life. I'm not going to lie to you. I do. I love it. But what do I do when I hear about, I think the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Hurairah was one time invited to a meal, like a very nice, luxurious meal. And he was like, the Prophet ﷺ lived and died and he didn't even fill his stomach, so I'm not going to sit here and eat this, right? Like what do you do when you hear that, right? When you hear something like that, like Umar radiallahu anhu was like, he said the Prophet lived and died and he didn't even he never filled his stomach with the aswadan or something like that, like with water and dates, something to that effect. Like the Prophet never indulged. When the Prophet was lying on his back and he got up and Umar, so his back was marked, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, the kings, they have these palaces and you're on this mat that's marking your back. And the Prophet got upset with him and he said, I'm not from this dunya, right? So what do? But then on the flip side, you hear stories where there were some of the Imams of the Salaf and Sahaba who dressed so well and they had nice houses. So, there's 3 examples that I'll give. And then it's interesting because from the apparent, they seem a bit contradictory, but my Shaykh, may Allah Azza wa Jalla preserve him, he really helped me understand this topic. So, there's 3 scenarios I'm going to give you, or 3 types of scenarios I'm going to give you, and each one is going to have contradictory examples. And then you're going to see why so many people are confused about this topic. But we're going to hopefully bring it together. That we're going to end with the hadith that cured the heart. Alhamdulillah. So look, first and foremost, I want to give you the example of Umar radiallahu anh, and then I'm going to give you the example of Imam Malik in terms of clothing. So Imam Malik, rahimahullah ta'ala, was known for the way he dressed. He would dress in the most exquisite of ways. Like, it was known. In fact, the point where if someone ever came to his door, he would not even come and greet them unless he had washed himself, bathed himself, perfumed himself, worn the nicest clothes, and then he would come out to them. Right? And then Umar radiallahu anhu, you have on the other side the Khalifa of the Muslims, who's just coming to take the keys to Jerusalem. May Allah bring the lands of the Muslims back to the Muslims. Ameen.
Ameen.
And he's coming looking raggedy. And Abu Ubaidah, who's the general of the army, who greets him and says, Ya Umar, change your clothes. These people won't respect you. They're used to seeing their leaders dress a certain way. Umar becomes angry with him and says, Ya Abu Ubaidah, Ya Abu Ubaidah, if it was someone else other than you, I would have lashed and punished for saying that. Allah honored us through Islam. And it was not through these clothes. So how do you reconcile? We'll come to it at the end. Another story to show you is the example of that same Abu Ubaidah who said, wear this nice clothes. On that same journey, I think it was, when Umar went to visit his house, Umar cried because Abu Ubaidah had nothing in his house that would suffice a man. Nothing. And here is one of the 10 promised Jannah, the general of the Muslim army, the one who took over. Umar took off Khalid ibn Walid and said, Abu Ubaidah, you're in charge now. The general of the Muslim army, who's conquering lands, conquering Romans, right? And he's taking war booty. But in his house, he has nothing that would even suffice a man. And Umar cries, says, Ya Abu Ubaidah, how are you living? Then you have Salman al-Farisi. Salman al-Farisi, who's the Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ, great Sahabi of the Prophet ﷺ. He goes to the marketplace and he gathers food that will suffice him for like a month. And a man looks at him and he says, Ya Salman, are you not from the companions of the Prophet ﷺ? Like, aren't you supposed to be like humble and pious and, you know, pleased with little? And he says, yes, I am from the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. And he takes this massive amount of food and he takes it back to his house. Food that will suffice you for about a month. Right, fills up his shelves. But Abu Ubaidah didn't have anything. So how do you reconcile between the two? Salman gave a beautiful answer. What was it?
Find out at the end.
Find out. Find out. You'll find out, inshallah. The third example that I'll give to you is the example of some of the Salaf. They would when they used to come to Salah, they would wear the most expensive and like luxurious thobe. And some of them would come to Salah and they would wear the most humble, run-down thobe. They would prefer to wear the most run-down thobe. And some of them would wear the most luxurious thobe. So how do you reconcile between the two? So let's go back to Umar and Imam Malik. Imam Malik used to wear those nice clothes because he was carrying the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. People would come to him from all corners of the earth to learn the sunnah. And he knew that people judge you based on appearances. And he wanted to make sure that people didn't judge, and they don't just judge you, they judge what you carry, right? So he didn't want people to ever look at him because of the way he's dressed and look at him as low, and then that affect the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Because it's true, sometimes there might be a teacher who's got a lot of knowledge, but because of something about him, you might just what? Be put off. Right? Isn't it true that sometimes a person who's practicing, who engages with you in a distasteful manner, will make you think, is this what practicing people are like? Right? It puts you off, even though that's wrong. But Imam Malik was like, I'm going to dress in this way because people honor a man who dresses like this. And the most honorable thing is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So I want to make sure that honor translates. So he was dressing in that way to honor the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It was for Allah's sake. Umar radiallahu anh, he didn't dress in that way because he wanted people to see that you do not get honor through clothing. You get honor through deen. So he chose to not wear that type of clothing for Allah's sake. And one may argue, well, so then was Imam Malik wrong? No, because Umar was the Khalifa who was coming to take the keys of Roman territory. There's no confusion that he doesn't need clothes to be honored. There's something honoring him above and beyond the clothes. So he didn't need, no one would doubt that this is a man who's honored. Do you understand? And he wanted to make clear, it's not, you lot are honored through clothes. You lot are honored through all of your pomp, right? We are honored through Islam. And he was able to show that clear version because there was no confusion. Like barefooted Bedouin Arabs are coming over with raggedy clothes and they're taking over the keys to Jerusalem. So the key here, and I want you to notice the rule of thumb, is that both were doing that which was going to be pleasing to Allah, and both were doing the decisions that they both undertook the decisions that they took. Why? For Allah's sake. Even though the decisions were completely different. But understand that the circumstances are different. Okay, cool. Let's take the example of Abu Ubaidah. So Abu Ubaidah radiallahu anhu was this general, right? Conquering lands, taking war booty. So, he had nothing in his house. But Salman al-Farisi used to take this massive supply. When the guy said to him, Ya Salman, he said, are you not from the companions of the Prophet ﷺ? And he said, yes. So why are you taking all of this food then? When people like Abu Ubaidah have nothing in their house. He said, Inna nafs. He said, the soul. إذا وجدت قوتها, if it finds the food that it needs when it's hungry, اطمأنت, it becomes relaxed. وتفرغت للعبادة, and it becomes free to worship Allah. And then it becomes free from the whispers of shaitan, right? And focusing on other than Allah. So he said, look, I know myself, right? I will, if I know I've got food for a month, I don't have to come to the marketplace for a month. I can just focus on what? Worshiping Allah Azza wa Jal. Abu Ubaidah wasn't, he didn't need that necessarily. Like some people, it doesn't stress them whether food is there or not. Some people it does. So he's like, let me just get out this thing that's going to waste my time, and just because I know I need to eat and I know I'm going to get hungry. I'm a human being, I'm going to get hungry. So let me just sort that out for a month in advance, and then I can focus, right? Likewise, the example of those who would wear the nice clothes when it came to salah and those who wouldn't. The ones who wore the nice clothes, because they were like, if I went to any king I would wear in this world, I would wear my nicest clothes. It's the King of Kings. Am I not going to wear my greatest clothes in front of him in salah? And the ones who would wear the raggedy clothes in salah, they would say, in salah, you're supposed to be humble, submissive, right? And me wearing these nice clothes might make me feel like I'm a bit arrogant, but right now I'm supposed to be the most humble and miskin because I'm before the King of Kings. I have to come across even more humble. So I'm going to wear my worst clothes. Akhi, the thread that brings all of this together here is, number one, people are different. Circumstances are different.
Very circumstantial.
Very circumstantial. And what is going to aid one person to get close to Allah, that same thing might actually send someone away. Likewise, Allah knows there are certain slaves of Allah that will be closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla's obedience if they are not rich and they are poor. So Allah doesn't make them rich. And there are those that Allah knows that if I give them wealth, they'll be closer to me. And if I give them poverty, they might disbelieve.
There's brothers that know that themselves. Some people know it within, like you mentioned, there was a brother that he came to say, like, if me, I'll be honest with you, I know myself. If I get money, I'm off.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually trying to just, I'm in just survival.
Yeah.
Other people, not having money pushes them towards haram.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is that the deen has to be first.
Yeah.
The deen has to be the primary thing that you're doing, regardless of whatever you have. And whatever you have at the moment, be content with it.
Mm-hmm.
Still go out, seek your risk and get it, but be content with whatever you have, and make sure that the deen, like, don't use money as an excuse to not be righteous. Don't use money as an excuse to not be on your deen, to not be seeking knowledge. But then do that alongside it and use it to aid you in your quest.
So in summary, what it comes down to is knowing yourself and knowing the deen.
Exactly.
Right? If I know what's pleasing to Allah and I also know myself, then I can navigate based on that what is going to be the most pleasing thing to Allah Azza wa Jalla in this circumstance. And that's why, and also, knowing the circumstance, not just knowing myself, knowing the circumstance. So you've got to know the circumstance, know yourself, and also know the deen, whether this is like encouraged or not. Like I actually told you, I changed my perspective on cars, and I may one day buy myself a supercar, right? And I'm still conflicted about that. And don't take this as an example for me. And just understand my thinking behind it. It's because actually that day, and I've seen this all the time, but there was one day it really so.
We're in the push.
Yeah, when we went to get food, we went to get some burgers. And there's some guys that pulled up on us, some young shabab. They were like, Sheikh. No, I'm not a Sheikh, but, they see the videos online, they benefited, they wanted to come close to the deen. And they were like really like amazed, right? And happy. And then when they saw us get into our car, boy, their reaction was nuts. And I just thought to myself, subhanAllah, because they mentioned that they had seen us talking about making money online and whatnot, and the fact that we balanced that with the deen. And it made them warm to us, to want to listen to us so that we could tell them more about the deen. And I was like, subhanAllah, that this car could be a way to grab their attention. And
the hook.
The hook, right? And show them that, oh, by the way, this means nothing to me. Like, I don't even care. And one of the ways we demonstrate that, you were like, sit in the car. Go, sit in the car. Go, take a pic. Like, we didn't even care. Like, most people wouldn't even let you touch the car because the car means more to them than what anything else. For me, the car's a hook to bring you in and then... So I'm not saying that would be right necessarily, but that changed my perspective. And I thought maybe if you use a car to be able to show people, this is what you want, it means nothing to me. In fact, take it. Like, it means nothing to me. And then be like, whoa, okay, so you can actually There are more meaningful things in life than this. That's just a thought process.
What was the hadith that came and changed your perspective?
Yeah, and I feel like this hadith will be the guiding principle for everyone.
Okay.
I feel like if you actually take this hadith, it will be the guiding principle for everyone, right? Like, should I buy this Gucci pair of shoes or not? Should I buy this Lamborghini? Should I buy this license plate? Should I get this house? Should I not? Da 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 da. Because when you're telling yourself, please Allah, and do the thing that's most pleasing to Allah, and when you're telling yourself, make the decision based on, you know, the circumstance and that which is best and pleasing to Allah, it's very easy to be like, because the nafs wants splendor and opulence and extravagance. It actually wants it to be like, yeah, let me just get a car. Let me just get a Ferrari. Oh, because people is going to benefit. This hadith will always just keep you in line, I think.
Go on.
The hadith is from the Tirmidhi. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, Man taraka libas, whoever left off a type of clothing, like a very nice type of clothing, tawadu'an lillah, out of humility for Allah. And by the way, anyone who's engaged or wore nice clothes, driven nice cars, lived in a nice house will know that it's about with humility. That day when you got that Rolex on, it feels a certain way. That day when you got that nice car, when you're in that nice car, it feels a certain type of way. And a little bit of arrogance kicking. But if you say, you know, I'm not going to wear this, you know why? Tawadu'an lillah. How can this is something that's going to, I just want to be humble before my Lord in all circumstances, right? وَهُوَ يَقْدِرُ عَلَيْهِ. And by the way, it's not that he leaves it off because he's broke. He had the ability. He had the ability. He could have bought it. He could have worn it. You know what his reward is on the day of judgment? دَعَاهُ اللَّهُ. Allah will call him out يوم القيامة, on the day of judgment, على رؤوس الخلائق, in front of all of the creation, until Allah gives him the choice and says to him, choose, which of these clothes of paradise do you want to wear? Which you pick, what do you want to wear? So
If leave something off for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better.
And you left it out of humility. And Allahu A'lam, you know, I'm not saying don't ever wear nice clothes, but every now and again at the very least be like, you know what? No. I have a nice pair of shoes already, right? And remember this, I remember watching a podcast by Sheikh Muhammad Hisham Tahir. He was explaining this. He was saying, Sahaba never, ever, like, it was never a bad thing to wear new clothes or nice clothes. The issue was opulence.
Opulence and extravagance.
Opulence is like, you know, you just see a guy and he just head to toe designer that's in your face.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Opulence. A turf.
Half of East London.
You understand? So maybe every now and again, when you can, you know what I'm saying? Just say no to it. Maybe say no to it more often than not. And it might be that you didn't say no to it because there's a wisdom like Imam Malik had that I'm not going to judge you on. I might see you driving that car, right? And by the way, it might be that this is opulence for someone else, but this helps you lower your gaze from other things. It might be, for example, you. I know the car thing's deep for you. Maybe if you didn't have that nice car, right? It would distract you because you're looking at the other things from the dunya. Because it is a fitna for you. So just have that beautiful sister that you marry. Just get the painting, right? Make sure she's obviously doing her obligations. Even though a girl might be better than her because of her deen, but it just safeguards you here. But then, it's like, you know, there's checks and balances.
You just have to know and be able to justify this in front of Allah on the Day of Judgment. I feel that's the best way to do it. Like, if you know you can stand in front of Allah and wholeheartedly give a valid reason for why you bought this, bro, that's you then.
And by the way, even if that reason is, it might be that just get that nice person because it's going to just busy your brain because you always want it. Maybe once you've got it, it's like, oh, it was dead. I don't need to get it again now. Do you understand? So the point is, there's checks and balances, there's people, it's subjective. But for me personally, I was like, you know what? Because recently I was like thinking about getting myself that Prada bag again. And I was like, you know, and I might still get it. But right now,
And more of Beit Jannah.
Yeah, 100%.
Get a better Jannah.
100%. I actually realized, wallahi, I have such nice clothes, alhamdulillah. Look at my thobe. Allahumma barik. Allahumma barik. I have such nice thobes. I want to get a suit as well.
Hopefully you guys benefited, and we'll see you on the next episode of Righteous and Rich. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
So hopefully you guys got some checks and balances with regards to where you can spend your money. Now, if you want to also learn how to increase your wealth so you can use it for khair, for good, because one of the things that we didn't talk about in the video was spending your money for the sake of Allah in terms of deen and charity, and you might want to take care of your family members and so on and so forth, which is great. And you want to scale your businesses to 7 figures. We've got something called 7 Steps to 7 Figures, which is going to be the biggest online entrepreneurial event for Muslims ever. That is what I'm aiming for it to be, and it will be that, inshallah ta'ala. So it's going to be free on the 23rd of this month, 2:30 p.m. UK time. Join me as I walk you through the 7 Steps to 7 Figures. And these are not going to be some little step 1, step 2, some basics. No, I'm talking about serious systems, right? From branding all the way to fulfilling the product and everything in between, sales, marketing, strategy, and all of that good stuff. So I'll see you there, inshallah ta'ala. With that said, save the date. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant, astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.